It's Friday, January 17th, 2014. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield and this is episode number 17 of T.E.N, Transport Evolved News for the week beginning January 13th, 2014. This week marked the annual North American International Auto Show, or Detroit Auto Show if you prefer. And that means this week's news has a little more than the usual smattering of show and concept cars, some of which may make it into production and most won't. First up is Audi's all-road shooting brake, a three-door rugged go almost anywhere through the road plug-in hybrid, with a large motor driving the rear wheels and a 2-litre turbocharged fuel stratified injection engine up front, married to a smaller disc-shaped electric motor. This car is supposedly good for 31 miles of all-electric range, and a top speed of 81 miles per hour in EV mode. It can also manage the 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint in under 5 seconds when working in sports mode. That's when the gasoline engine plus both motors work together for maximum performance. And it can hit 155 mph in blended power mode. And unlike the V8 plug-in Audi Quattro laser-like concept shown in Vegas the week before, which had frigging lasers for headlights, the all-road shooting brake has a chance of entering production, at least sometime soon, or at least give us a good idea of what we can expect from Audi in the future. Talking of the future, Audi's R8 e-tron, the on-again, off-again supercar that featured in the latest Iron Man film as Tony Stark's ride of choice, is apparently, finally, going to make it into production. That's according to Audi's technical chief, Dr. Ulrich Hackenberg, who confirmed at this week's Detroit show that advances in battery chemistry and some other tweaks meant that the R8 e-tron was back in development at Audi HQ. New specs are thought to include a range of more than 250 miles per charge and, hopefully, a much more affordable sticker price than the oh-so-expensive prototypes Audi let some journalists drive last year. But given this project's yo-yoing between the drawing board and the trash can, it's really too early to say if this time is for real. Staying in Detroit, Volkswagen announced this week that it was planning on bringing a production version of its plug-in cross-blue SUV concept car to market sometime by 2016. Capable of seating 7, this car will offer the best of both worlds, plug-in capability for 14 or so miles of all-EV range, plus a turbocharged diesel engine for longer distance trips. Sure, it's no Tesla Model X, but here at Transport Evolved, we're excited to see mainstream automakers slowly wake up to something we've known for a very long time. It's possible to have a plug-in car that's also an SUV. And if you've got a large family or kids and dogs, we know you'll be watching this latest plug-in development from Volkswagen with interest. Last week, Mark told you the news that owners of the 2014 BMW i3 Rex, that's BMW's range-extended version of its all-electric i3 hatchback, can't apply for one of the unlimited in number white HOV lane access decals that owners of the all-electric i3 can. Instead, we explained, they'd be left fighting for a rapidly decreasing pool of number-limited green HOV lane access decals instead. But thanks to our friends over at Green Car Reports who did some digging into the Californian rebates and perks, we're now able to confirm just what you'll get, or not, with each i3. Buy an all-electric i3 and you can look forward to a $7,500 federal tax rebate at your year's end, plus a $2,500 Californian purchase rebate towards the cost of your car. You'll also be able to apply for one of the white HOV lane decals and know that you'll get one. But buy a range-extended i3 Rex, and while you'll still get the same $7,500 federal tax rebate, you'll only get $1,500 purchase rebate from the state of California. And while you'll be eligible to apply for a green HOV lane decal, you'll have to fight it out with many of the other plug-in hybrid owners desperate to get one of the remaining unallocated decals. There are only a maximum quota of 40,000 and most of them have gone already. No range extender and guaranteed HOV lane access, and a little more in the way of rebates or no range anxiety, less rebates, and the chance you'll have to miss out in the HOV lane. You're cool. What would you do? Back in December, we were happy and cheery about the defeat of an anti-Tesla amendment attached to the back of a completely unrelated bill in a clandestine attempt in Ohio to prevent Tesla from selling its electric cars direct to consumers in the state. But now we've heard about another attempt to make Tesla's life difficult, courtesy of this gentleman, Senator Tom Patton of Strongsville, Ohio. The Republican senator, who was the guy responsible for the original attempt to ban Tesla from selling in the state back in December, has introduced Senate Bill 260 to the Ohio House. Essentially seeking to do the same thing as last year's failed attempt, the bill would make it illegal for the state to issue dealer licenses to dealerships who are in any way connected to the automaker whose cars they're wanting to sell, equaling Tesla. The Ohio Senate has yet to set a date for the discussion of the proposed bill, so we're in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment, but there is at least one piece of news that we think is pertinent at this point. According to MediaTrackers.com, Senator Patton has received more than $42,825 in campaign donations in the last 9 years from, you've guessed it, pro-dealer entities like individual dealerships, auto dealer associations, and individuals who work in the auto dealer industry. Yeah, we'll let you draw your own conclusions there. Being an electric car driver is great, isn't it? Especially if you happen to own an EV which can rapidly charge from empty to 80% full in less time than it takes to visit the loo and order a venti chai latte. Or rather, it is when charging stations actually work, which, in my own experience, isn't always the case. So when we heard that NewMotion, an EV charging network from the Netherlands, has just announced its decision to temporarily switch off 35 of its 50 DC quick charging stations due to reliability issues, we weren't that surprised. The company claims that DBT-built rapid charge units are just so unreliable that it's spending most of its time chasing around trying to fix them and not actually building its network. So, for the next few months, it's going to be replacing the faulty units with new DC quick charge units from a rival company that are supposedly more reliable. There are 15 DC quick chargers on that network which are not affected by this problem. They're not made by DBT and have excellent reliability, so they keep working. There are also some lower power charging stations at most of its rapid charge sites, so people shouldn't get stranded if they're unaware of this drastic response to an unacceptable problem. Let's just hope the network is back up to full power and in full swing very soon. You'd think that with sales of its Nissan Leaf at an all-time high, Nissan's luxury arm Infiniti would be gagging to jump on the electric bandwagon. But as we reported this week, Infiniti's attitude to electric cars just keeps getting colder and colder, with its past plans for a luxury Leaf-based Infiniti LE sedan now indefinitely on ice. Talking with Autocar at the 2014 Detroit Auto Show, Johan de Nijssen said that Infiniti's priorities lay elsewhere and that an electric car or even a plug-in hybrid won't happen anytime soon. The former Audi North America boss is in fact a known EV skeptic and once famously called Chevy Volt buyers idiots. But he seems to think that his primary job at Infiniti, to increase the brand's profitability and market share, especially among China's rapidly growing affluent, brand-conscious middle class, is somewhat incompatible with building a high-performance, high-spec luxury plug-in car. Maybe he should take a look at Tesla. They seem to be doing pretty well. This week, another all-electric private hire firm opened its car doors to customers for the first time. And like other places we know around the world, this chauffeur-driven private hire company is using top-spec Nissan Leafs as their car of choice. But unlike other taxi and private hire firms with EVs, this one has a new twist. You see, eConnect Cars was set up by someone you might not expect to be pro-EV, a former oil and gas executive. Enter Alastair Clark, a chartered accountant who has spent the past 10 years working for Ep17 oil and gas company BG Group. But after seeing firsthand what the oil and gas industry are doing to our planet, not to mention the hard time it has finding new resources, he decided to make the switch to electric, leave the fossil fuel industry for good, and go green. We wish Alastair and his company all the best in London and hope his service can persuade some of London City's biggest businesses that it really is time to dump the pump for good. Our final story today is a little bizarre, but hey, it was the Detroit Auto Show this week, and why people do weird stuff at auto shows is still a scientific unknown. It's true. Enter VIA Motors, the factory plug-in conversion specialist who build ultra-tough plug-in hybrid pickup trucks, full-size SUVs, and vans for mainly commercial applications. VIA's booth in Detroit featured something we can't quite explain. A silk aerialist. That's someone who suspends themselves from the ceiling and does acrobatics with a piece of silk. The high-flying performance seems to have got more prominence on VIA's YouTube channel than 2 of its 3 announcements. I mean, I couldn't even find a press release for one of them, and that's kind of, yeah, weird. That's it for this week. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of T.E.N. And in the meantime, visit www.transportevolved.com for all the EV news that's fit to print. Subscribe to our channel and other shows on YouTube, and join us live on Sunday when we'll be discussing these stories and others on Transport Evolved. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and until next time, stay juiced up! I have no idea why anybody would dangle themselves from the ceiling with a piece of string. It doesn't make sense. It's just bizarre. I wish I was as cool as Mark.